On a bright weekday afternoon, sunlight streamed through the tall glass windows of the busy cafe where people moved with the fast rhythm of their ordinary lives, unaware that something extraordinary was about to happen at one simple corner table. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air as chatter echoed softly, but everything shifted when a young girl, barely in her early 20s, stepped inside using crutches, moving slowly and carefully, her single leg supporting her every trembling step. Her eyes searched for an empty seat, but the cafe was crowded, every table filled with people who barely noticed her presence. Some glanced at her prosthetic stump and then quickly looked away, not out of cruelty but discomfort, unsure of how to react. Yet the moment felt heavy, because she stood there trying not to look helpless, trying not to let the world see the loneliness she had carried for years. And then her gaze fell upon a table by the window, a spot occupied by a single dad and his little daughter. Gathering her courage, she approached them, her voice soft but steady, asking if she could share the table. And in the next few seconds, something happened that no one in the cafe expected. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that remind us of humanity, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Kindness Thread, because your support helps more heart-touching stories reach the world. The girl's name was Elena, a quiet and introverted soul who had lost her leg in an accident 3 years earlier when a speeding truck hit the bus she was traveling in. While her physical wounds had healed to some extent, the emotional scars ran deeper than anyone could imagine. Every day was a new battle, walking in public, feeling people's stares, struggling with loneliness, and fighting the constant fear that she would always be treated differently. Today had been especially hard for her. She had gone for a job interview where the employer, despite maintaining a polite tone, subtly implied that her condition might make things complicated. She had left the building with a forced smile, but her heart felt like it was slowly crumbling. She entered the cafe hoping for a moment of peace, a small break from the harshness of reality. But seeing no empty tables made her feel even more invisible, until she noticed the little girl looking at her with gentle curiosity instead of fear or pity. That gave her the courage to approach. Across the table sat Daniel, a single father in his early 30s, holding a cup of coffee with one hand while gently keeping his daughter close with the other. Life had not been kind to him either. His wife had passed away 2 years ago after a long illness, leaving him to raise their daughter, Mia, alone. He had been doing his best, juggling 2 jobs while trying to keep Mia's world warm and full of love despite the empty space in their home. He came to the cafe every afternoon after picking Mia up from school, using the quiet hour to catch his breath before facing the rest of the day. When he looked up and saw Elena standing nervously, balancing on her crutches, he noticed the subtle shaking in her arms, the slight pain in her eyes, and the tiredness that came from carrying too many emotional burdens at once. He also noticed how everyone else avoided meeting her gaze, hoping someone else would take responsibility. In that moment, Daniel knew what he had to do. Instead of giving her a hesitant nod or a polite gesture, he smiled warmly, pulled out a chair with his free hand, and made space for her as if she was an old friend. His welcoming expression wasn't forced or awkward, it was genuine, the kind of kindness that comes from someone who knows exactly what it feels like to be hurt, judged, and tired. The people nearby who had pretended not to notice the girl now stared with curiosity, surprised by the natural ease with which Daniel invited her to sit. Elena sat down slowly, gratitude filling her heart as she realized she had not expected kindness today, not after the morning she'd had. The sunlight fell softly on the table, casting warm reflections on the glass. Mia, the little girl with golden curls, leaned slightly toward Elena, fascinated not by her missing leg but by the bright red shirt she wore and the tiny stickers on her crutches. Mia asked her innocent questions about the stickers and the colors she liked, and Elena answered with a smile she had not felt in weeks. Daniel watched the interaction with quiet admiration. It amazed him how children could see the world without judgment while adults often let fear build invisible walls. As the minutes passed, Elena found herself opening up in ways she hadn't expected. She spoke about her accident, about how she once loved dancing, how she had lost more than just a limb that day, and how rebuilding her confidence felt like walking uphill every single day. Daniel listened with patience and gentle empathy, sharing a little about his own struggles, how losing his wife had made him feel broken, how he sometimes doubted if he was enough for Mia, and how every day was a lesson in trying again despite the pain. Their conversation wasn't dramatic, it was simply real, 2 wounded souls recognizing each other's battles and offering understanding instead of pity. The cafe staff, regular customers, and even people passing by through the glass noticed the unusual warmth at the table. Something about the scene, the girl with one leg, the single father, the little daughter, the sunlight pouring over them, felt like a reminder that kindness still existed in quiet corners of the world. And when Daniel told Elena that she was stronger than she realized, that her courage to enter the cafe alone was already proof of her bravery, the entire atmosphere seemed to change. Elena felt her heart lighten, as if someone had lifted a weight she had been carrying too long. Daniel didn't just offer her a seat, he offered her dignity, companionship, and a moment of belonging. And for Elena, that was more healing than any medicine. Hours later, when they finally stood up to leave, Elena felt a sense of hope she had forgotten she was capable of. Mia hugged her tightly before leaving, and for the first time in a long while, Elena didn't feel like an outsider. She felt like she mattered. If this story touched your heart even a little, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Thread so more beautiful stories can reach those who need them. Before we end, Sparkle's special request, tell us in the comments, what does kindness mean to you personally? And as Elena stepped out of the cafe, the sunlight felt warmer, the world felt gentler, and for the first time in years, she believed that kindness could change a life, even if only for one afternoon.